Awareness Month, and data shows gun suicide rates continue to reach all-time highs in states across the country.
Research shows that one simple action can help save lives: safe firearm storage. Joining us now live with some ways to increase gun safety at home is Dr. Catherine Hoops. Dr. Catherine Hoops, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What is the most important thing people can do to prevent gun violence right now?
I think the most important thing for people to know that they can implement right now is secure storage of firearms is life-saving. So secure storage means keeping firearms stored unloaded, locked up, inaccessible to people who shouldn't have access to firearms. So as a critical care pediatrician, I see the consequences of unsecure firearms storage all too frequently. And secure storage can prevent children or other unauthorized users from gaining access to firearms, and those consequences of that access being deadly.
I see you've got a few examples in front of you of what secure storage can look like. Can you walk us through some of those options?
Yeah, absolutely. So secure storage can look a lot of different ways because people might make different choices about how they want to store the firearms in their home. And so there are a range of options that are available. For example, there are devices like a cable lock that can be applied to an unloaded firearm to make it inaccessible to someone who doesn't have the key to unlock that lock. For someone who wants to have quick access to their firearm, for example, something like a key-coded safe or a biometric safe that unlocks using a fingerprint can still let you have access to a firearm in seconds. So there are a range of options, but all of these are part of a public health approach to preventing firearm injuries, right? We put barriers or create time and space between vulnerable people and access to highly lethal means. For a child, a safe might be a complete barrier to access. But for an adult who's going through a hard time, it might be the difference of a few seconds to unlock a lock. But that might be life-saving because it interrupts a pathway from thinking about suicide to attempting using highly lethal means.
And Dr. Hoops, what can people who don't have firearms at home do to promote safe gun storage? When sending their kids over to a friend's house, should they be asking the family there, hey, do you have a firearm? Is it being stored safely? Is that an appropriate question to ask?
It absolutely is. And I think, the message here is that everyone has a role in the prevention of firearm injuries. So people who don't have firearms in the home might consider advocating for a secure storage law in their state if it doesn't have one, or to strengthening that safe storage law if it does. But you don't have to get political to have a role in this. As you suggested, parents can have conversations with neighbors or their children's friends before a play date, the same way you would talk about allergies. They can have conversations about how firearms are stored in those homes to keep kids safe. But even if you don't have kids, you can have a conversation with a family member and certainly have a conversation with anyone you're worried about to encourage them to implement secure storage or even think about getting firearms out of the home.
Yeah, they can be tough conversations, but they are so important, really can be life-saving. Doctor, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.